we're talking about uh, the original intent of those who ratified our Constitution. And I was pointing out just they were really smart people. They really were. Their ideas are good. You're told they're not good. And basically, since you were in kindergarten, you've been told they aren't good ideas. So that's why you think that way. But you need to read the ratification letters, you need to read the preamble to the Bill of Rights, and you need to think. You really need to think. You want to have freedom. This is about freedom, and it's available. I've got the good news here. If you're a Christian, that's the gospel, right? Gospel is the good news. Well, there's a good news. There are people who understand it's controlling the believing of the people that's so important and are working to do that. And who understand that if you can control government, and especially if you can centralize government's power and control that, you can very much have a large control of the people. If you have a large national army under control of that centralized government, again, you have control over the people. But if you can control how people get their health care, if you can control the money, who gets loans, who doesn't, if you control the food, the air, the water, whatever it is that people need, you got to have a roof over your head, clothes to wear, and food. Okay, basics. You want to have protection from attack from outside viciousness. So if we can control those things, then we can control the believing of the people. Well, that sounds very bad in some ways. What are you going to do? There's good news. There's always somebody else who wants that job. There's always somebody fighting to get that power. And they fight each other. Okay? And I told you about the gal that she's on that island in the movie, and all these dinosaurs have suddenly resurrected, and the two dinosaurs are trying to eat her. But they get fighting each other over trying to eat her. And while they're fighting each other, she runs off. This is the good news. I think it was in Rome, and I don't remember if it was the Western or Eastern Empire. In one 365-day period, they had six different emperors. Now, they had two emperors at the same time, dual emperors, during that period. And as far as I could tell, there was only one of those six that may have died of natural causes. The rest of them got killed. Yeah. And that's the way it was. There's always somebody fighting for that power. They're fighting to get that control. And this is in many ways is a good thing. I'm not saying that we should try to encourage that they fight each other so that they don't eat us. Yeah, I am. That being said, our Constitution is designed to keep that situation from happening, to make it so our government is not something that people can get the control of. You understand this? Declaration and restriction, along with the use of amendments, vested power, all of these things work towards our not having a government that rules us, but rather us having a government that we rule and keeping it from being something that will come after us and make us in bondage the way they were in Europe. You know, in Europe, they would go in, the British had press gangs. They grab a fella. You are now in the Navy. You're going to be in the Navy. That's it. You know, it didn't matter. And that's where you went. Same thing over with, I forget where the Hessians came from, but that country, they just took people and put them in the army. You tried to get out, they'd beat you up. You tried to get everybody to get out, they'd hang you. You know, you were in for the rest of your life, and that's just the way it was. You got to understand, this has been the nature of governments. Okay, they're very much they rule the people. In our country, we've been living with a great deal of freedom. And that's because the people who went before us gave up their comfort, they gave up their prosperity, and many of them gave their blood so that we could be free. You know, it's a pretty wonderful thing. Not too many people get freedom. Probably the guy that should be the poster boy for freedom is Hercules. And I'm not talking about the Greek half-god fella. Hercules was George Washington's house servant, and he's described as a dandy. He dressed immaculately. He had his way with the ladies. He ate really good food, and he lived comfortably. George took care of him wonderfully. You know, he really had it. He ran off. George could not. George Washington, General George Washington, past president of the United States of America, could not fathom why he would do that. He took such good care of him. Hercules wanted to be free. People, you got to understand that freedom is worth it. They offer to take care of you. They offer to feed you and dress you like you can't believe. And if you don't, they say, well, you're going to get hurt. You're going to get hurt real bad. People, you need to run off like Hercules, or you need to stand up for your own rights. Keep your own constitution and remain free. Hopefully this is helping.